right, and hello, and welcome back to Finding Wendy. I'm Wendy, your host, joined by my fabulous co-host, Allison. Allison, how are you doing?
Hey,
Hey,
great,
Allison.
Wendy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, oh, that's great. You know, we're getting so close to Christmas here, and it's like, oh my God, all the Christmas treats, everything, you know, it's just very tempting.
Delay, don't deny. Save it for that window.
Yeah, delay, don't deny. That's the theme, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so we're thrilled to bring today an inspiring guest, a fantastic story of health and transformation with our special guest, Jalene Weigand. Did I say it right?
Jalene.
Yeah, Jalene.
Yeah.
So just a little bit about Jalene. Do you want to say yourself, or should I just tell our listeners a bit about you? I have it here.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So, Jalene is a 55-year-old wife, preschool teacher, nanny, life coach, owner of a small natural body product company, and a mom of many rescued animals. Which animals are they?
I have 3 cats, a rabbit, and a fish.
What was the first thing you said? 2 what?
2 dogs.
2 dogs. Oh, okay, cool.
Dogs.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what kind of dogs are they?
I have a pit bull named Benjamin, and I have we're not sure what Nala is. We think she might be King Charles Spaniel, Boston Terrier Pug. I don't know. She's she's the sweetest. She's
Great.
a littler dog, but
Well,
Wonderful.
We love dog.
They're
I'm a dog owner, and so is Allison.
they're the best.
So, Jalene, just let our listeners know where you're calling in from.
I'm sorry you cut out. Where am I?
Yeah,
Huh?
where are you situated in the world? Where are you calling in from?
Oh,
you're
Anaheim, California.
Yes. So, Allison and I are drooling because it's -9 here in Toronto. And how cold is it in Allison in New Jersey?
Probably about 35 degrees. I don't
Yeah,
know.
so-
Oh gosh.
Celsius.
Yeah, it's cold and it's very windy. So with the wind, it's like wind chill -1,000. So, but luckily we didn't get any snow. There was a lot of snow just 1 hour north of Toronto. They have now had a total snowfall of 6 feet of snow.
Wow.
Like it's a state
I
of
can't even
emergency
imagine.
in cottage country. You can't go anywhere.
It's been in the 40s here in Anaheim in the morning, and I feel like I'm gonna die. It's that cold. But right now it's probably in the 70s. So
Ah, nice.
I really can't complain. Sorry,
All right.
guys.
So what I understand is that you've tried countless fad diets and exercise programs to stay in shape, but the cycle of drastic calorie restrictions and adrenal fatigue left you unable to maintain a healthy body. So after the challenges of 2020 and navigating menopause, 2020 meaning the pandemic, you found
so I
yourself.
have-
Sorry, you cut out
ahead.
there. Okay, so I'll continue. So you found yourself in a body that you didn't even recognize. So denial set in as you tried to hide behind stretchy yoga pants and forgiving maxi skirts. And the turning point came when you saw pictures of yourself on social media and couldn't ignore the truth anymore. So for the first time in years, you stepped on the scale and discovered that you had gained 35 pounds, which is quite an amount for a petite frame of 5'3". So you were determined to find some answers, and you turned to holistic and integrative healthcare through a local OB/GYN podcast on Women's Health Network. You discovered Lori Lewis, a leader in intermittent fasting. So from that day, you started your journey with intermittent fasting, finding inspiration from experts like Jen Stevens, Dr. Jason Fung, fellow Torontonian, and Graham Curry. And the results for you have been life-changing. So you have not only lost all your menopausal weight gain, but you also reduced inflammation, regained energy, and you now fit into clothes that you wore in your 20s. And so today you're calling intermittent fasting your forever lifestyle. And you're approaching now your 2-year fasting anniversary, and you're here to share your story about your journey and share your story to inspire women who feel at a loss after menopause. So, Jalene, once again, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. So I've actually been fasting for 3 years, but I've been in maintenance for 2 years.
Okay.
So I started in 2021. It's when I first heard the podcast, was in 2021. Do you know who Lori Lewis is? Are you familiar with her?
I'm very familiar with Lori, yes. But go ahead. You want to share?
Yeah, sure. I don't.
Amazing. So I heard her podcast, and she has a very similar story to mine. And she was visiting her mom in Colorado and had gained a lot of weight through menopause. And her mom so lovingly said to her, "While you're here, let's try to figure out what's going on with your weight." And she said it made her very upset. You know, as women, that's not something we want to hear. But she said she, went into the bedroom and just started to go down the rabbit hole of weight loss. And she found intermittent fasting. She found Jen Stevens, and it changed her life. So listening to her story, it was so similar to mine that I listened to the whole thing. I cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. And I started fasting that day, clean fasting from the very beginning.
And that was 2021?
It was November of 2021.
And so I'm familiar with Lori's story, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about, the things that you were experiencing? I know a lot of us can identify with perimenopause or menopause. I'm 51, so I'm somewhere in that spectrum. I have hormone replacement therapy, so I'm not exactly sure what's happening, but tell us a little bit about like what you were noticing. I know Lori noticed seemingly overnight 50-pound weight gain. She just was bloated. She wasn't feeling herself. She knew something was wrong. And what was happening for you?
So for me, it was, definitely the weight gain, but I was able to ignore it during the pandemic. I'm a preschool teacher, and we shut down in March of 2020 and had to go on Zoom, which, can you imagine doing Zoom with preschoolers? It was quite the adventure. It was fun, but it's, not the way I want to be with children. So, but anyways, I was home and I was wearing very, very comfy clothes. And I think probably in the back of my mind, I knew that I was putting on weight, but at the time, it wasn't like a priority. There was so much going on in the world, and I was trying to just be positive and happy. And I think I was just eating my feelings. We discovered Uber Eats during the pandemic. And so we had food delivered all the time. That was like the only way that we celebrated. Mm-hmm. So I just didn't realize I had gained that much weight. But I was also having hot flashes, and I wasn't sleeping well. And I was having, weird skin issues. I started to get eczema, which I've never had before in my life. And my hair was starting to feel thin. And I just wasn't happy. My husband said that I walked around with my fists like this. And he's like, every time I saw you walking around, it was like you were like angry at the world, which I think I kind of was too at the time, but most of it was hormones. So
right.
As soon as I started fast, go ahead.
Yeah, I can't remember what I did an hour ago, and my menopause was 15 years ago because I'm 65. Wow. So I barely can remember what it was like for me. So 15 years ago was like, how long was 15 years? So that was 2010, right? 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
No, 2000. I'm terrible at math.
Oh, it's
Don't ask
maybe
me
it
to do
is.
math or geography.
Maybe I said
Terrible.
no, but maybe you're right. Let me just get my calculator out because
Oh my,
20.
bunch
Hey
of
Siri, what's 2024 minus 15?
2009. We're a
Oh,
bunch of teachers
2009.
here,
Yeah, yeah.
Jalene, not
I
hip
was
hop.
right. I was 2009. Yeah. Yeah, you guys are teachers. I'm a musician. I don't have to count anything except for
preschool teacher though. Preschool. We're working on
um
social and emotional development, not math.
yeah. So anyways, the thing is what I was going to mention about menopause is that I didn't notice anything about weight gain or weight loss because I was already dealing with my own body issues, and that was way before my bariatric surgery because I had bariatric surgery in 2018 and 2009. I just
Okay.
followed a regular diet and I just lost a whole lot of weight, like 150 pounds. So it was around the menopause time that I was losing weight, but it was like going to the gym 7 days a week and eating 1,200 calories a day. So, but anyways, we have lots more questions to ask you.
Okay.
So now that you've been doing this intermittent fasting now for 3 years,
Mhm.
and has it become for you like a complete and total habit or lifestyle? When we talked about when I mentioned you at the beginning, it said you said now it's basically your lifestyle, your life-changing lifestyle.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't even think about it anymore. I just wake up in the morning and I drink my black coffee. And in the beginning, the first, I would say maybe 2 weeks, I was really mad about the black coffee. Like I used to drink, I didn't put sugar in my coffee, but I would put half and half, and it was more half and half than it was even coffee. I just loved the color of it. I don't know why it's so weird to me now. But so for 2 weeks, I was pretty upset about it. But
Yeah.
once I found a good coffee that I liked, it now I love it. I love the
And
black.
so which coffee do you like? Which coffee are you using?
There's a local roaster in our area that
Right.
I use. Unfortunately, they just went out of business, so I am looking for another
Uh,
one.
well, I can highly suggest the coffee that I use because, as it turns out, I did a lot of research on Starbucks, and I steer far, far, far away from Starbucks because Starbucks basically
Yeah,
um, over um, burns, processes the beans till there's nothing left, and it becomes a really bitter
yeah.
experience. It's very bitter, Starbucks coffee, and I drink this Italian
Agreed.
coffee, Lazzaro. Is that the way
It's
you?
Lavazza. Don't you use
Lavazza, yeah,
Lavazza? Yeah,
yeah,
it's very
Lavazza.
good.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Lavazza coffee is what I use, and I buy the big bags from Costco, the beans, and I have a fresh bean
Okay.
grinder, so I grind the beans fresh with my 1 cup or 2 cups of black coffee, and it's very smooth, and it kind of feels now like I'm drinking coffee with milk in it, but there's no milk. What about you, Allison?
So I have tried Lavazza. Now they have different roasts. Do you know which roast you use? Like, is it a medium or a
It's
dark or
it's a medium.
medium?
Yeah.
And do you put it into an espresso machine? Because you have like a
Yes.
frothy
Yeah.
espresso kind of
Yeah. I have
coffee.
I have a real espresso machine. Yeah.
Okay. So
That
I
sounds
have
delicious.
it is, and I really would like to try that because I have a Nespresso, which I have to buy the pods, and I haven't really found a pod that I love. So I ended up buying the beans that Jen Stevens uses from her Costco. So our Costco doesn't sell the Lavazza beans, but they do
Mhm.
sell hers, which are the organic
Mer-
Mayorga Cuban roast.
Yeah, I've
Right.
tried that.
It
Yeah.
is delicious, but I'm experimenting now with like brewing methods to make it really smooth because I think it does
Mhm.
matter. I have the little make your own Keurig cup that I can use in my Keurig, which I don't love, but I've since bought a nicer regular coffee pot that I'm experimenting with.
Yeah.
And I think it's working out well. I do look forward to it. I mean, it has taken every bit of 4 years to like that black coffee, and I think it's because I still have the creamy coffee that I love during my window on weekends, so my brain is still like connected to that. And Jolene, I'm like you, I love the color. It's creamy, it's comforting, it's soothing.
Yeah.
It
It's
is a
so
challenge, but
it's so interesting. I don't like it with cream anymore. Very
Oh,
rarely. There's been a few times we've gone out to brunch and I've tried it just because like I said, I love the way it looks. And it just, I don't know, it just doesn't taste right to me anymore.
Hmm.
I guess my taste buds have changed since I've been fasting, and I love the black coffee. But
that's
so yeah, so I
fabulous.
wake up every day and I just drink black coffee and I don't even really think about it. Like it's just my life. And
Yeah.
I open my window during the week when I'm working with my kids. I usually open my window between 10:30 and 11. When they start to eat lunch, I usually have a snack with them. So I'll have a snack, and then about 3 hours later, I'll have my pretty good sized lunch. And then I'm done between like 3 and 4. I like to have an earlier window. I sleep better when I close my window by 4 o'clock.
Right, right. Yeah. So we're
So,
talking about fasting windows. And Jalene, I just wanted to mention when you speak, can you just speak closer, stay close to the screens because
Okay.
when you go back like this, then it becomes very echoey and far, and we can't understand you very well, or at least I can't anyway, because I'm
Those
old. So your fasting window, so the simple 16:8 window is not what you're doing. That's what you started with.
So I did 16:8 for the first year.
Right.
And I just decided, I mean, I obviously wanted to lose weight, but I really wanted it to feel like a lifestyle. And I've had an eating disorder in my 20s, and and I could feel it starting to creep back when I discovered I had gained so much weight, and I didn't want to go down that road again. So I just decided to do 16:8, be really kind to myself. And I didn't eat the whole 8 hours though. Sorry, I moved back. I didn't eat the whole 8 hours. Like I said, I would open with a snack and then I would wait a few more hours and then I would have a lunch. And then I also had a dinner at for the first year. And I didn't weigh myself for the first 6 months too.
Wow. Now that's very, very strong. I am still very addicted to the scale. Wow. That's
Yeah,
great.
the eating disorder really, really wrecked my brain. And I just knew if I started weighing, I would get obsessed. And
Mm-hmm.
then I
Yeah,
was
okay.
afraid the old habits would creep back in. So I put the scale away for 6 months and then I weighed myself.
Okay,
Yeah.
so just to recap, I don't know if we skipped by that part or not. So
Okay.
you were experiencing a weight gain during the pandemic,
Hmm.
menopausal time. So
Yeah.
growing up, did you have any weight issues like when you were in your tweens and when you became a teenager, when you were in university? Did you have any weight issues then?
So I thought I did. I mean, I wish that could be as big as I was in high school. I always thought that I had a weight issue, but looking back, I really didn't. I'm just I'm short and petite, but I'm very busty and I have a figure and I was always trying to fight against it. But it really wasn't a weight issue.
No.
I always wanted to be like a size 1 or 2, and that's just not where my body is. Not even close. Not even close.
And so when
So
you were at your heaviest, what size were you?
it's hard to say for sure because, like I said, I was wearing like yoga pants and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
stretch. But I'm gonna guess I was probably a 14,
Mm-hmm.
16.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's probably what it was at.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So interesting. And so when we talk, let's talk a little bit about food preferences. So
Okay.
the thing about the intermittent fasting for myself, and you maybe Allison can jump in about this as well. Again, for the listeners that maybe have not known what my history is, and maybe Allison, you want to talk a little bit, recap your history, but I used to weigh 450 pounds and I was obese all my life. And I've been on a gazillion diets. I think I've calculated I've lost and regained 1,000 pounds over my lifetime. And I
Mm.
had bariatric surgery in 2018, just before the pandemic. And during the pandemic, I had a weight regain. And it's just in the last 3 months that I discovered intermittent fasting and discovered Allison and I hooked up because she wrote this wonderful book called The Regain Remedy, for specifically designed and targeting bariatric patients that have experienced a weight regain after the bariatric surgery.
I don't know if you remember this, but you were part of a Fast Feast Repeat Facebook group.
Yeah.
And you had popped on and you shared a little bit about yourself, and you were looking for other people that have had weight loss surgery. And I had put in the link to Allison's book. I don't know
that
if you
was
remember
you.
that.
I cannot I couldn't remember who it was. So, wow. Talk about coming full circle. That's amazing. So that's the amazing thing about Facebook, and the amazing thing about community and village and helping each other out. And wow. Yeah. So the reason why I'm telling you this, so Allison too. So we'll stay on track because we're going to talk about food preferences. Just to end my part is that my food preferences have changed during the period of having bariatric surgery, that I fell in love with vegetables again and fell in love with fruit. But the interesting thing now with the intermittent fasting, with the delay, don't deny aspect, is that the other foods that I was missing out on because I was having diet brain, that they're back in my life, and I'm feeling so much more relieved. Like, oh, thank God, my window's open. Of course I can have a donut. Of course I can have a cookie. This morning, I opened my window earlier today because I had to go to an event and a Christmas party for a local politician, and I ate pancakes with maple syrup. Mm-hmm. So that's the difference. The difference is you don't have to not eat. Like, you can't have it every day, but if you want pancakes, you'll have pancakes. What about you, Allison?
Yeah, it's a little bit more of a forgiving lifestyle. So yeah, my story is similar to yours, Wendy. I did reach 240 pounds at 5'3", 5'4" before I decided to have bariatric surgery. All the diets before that, tried everything, and did lose 90 pounds with bariatric surgery, but then started regaining. And in researching, I did find that up to 75% of people that have had bariatric surgery do experience significant regain, unfortunately, within 6 years. So it is a major problem, and that's why we are trying to get the word out to try to help others that, you don't have to do liquid diets or more surgery or weight loss medications. There's, a better, we think a better way, but a more natural way to fight that regain. But for me, when I first started intermittent fasting, I thought that, okay, if I'm not eating for 16 or 18 hours during the day, I'm going to eat exactly what I want when my window opens. And back then, what I wanted was donuts, Doritos, like Jen says, the cheesy, crunchy things, and just things that were not good for me. And, miraculously with intermittent fasting, your body tells you what nutrients it needs. And it is a slow process, but I will literally go in my refrigerator, and instead of, reaching for the ice cream, I'm pulling out avocados and Brussels sprouts. And it's still mind-blowing to me, but it does happen. But don't let me fool you. I still sneak in the treats. I have a treat every day, whether it's a little piece of chocolate or maybe it's a scoop of ice cream. Obviously, with the bariatric surgery, I know that I can't overdo it, but I just don't want it either. So yeah, food preferences have changed for sure.
And what about you, Jalene?
I've always been a pretty clean eater. In my 40s, I discovered I was having a sensitivity to grains. I also have Hashimoto's thyroid disease, and a lot of people that have thyroid issues also have issues with grains. So I've been pretty much grain free for, I don't know, over 10 years. I do occasionally have sourdough bread because I just love it. And, sometimes I have a little bit of rice. It's not an allergy. So it's not gonna, kill me if I eat it, but it gives me a lot of inflammation. So I do have to be fairly cautious. But I do love cheese and like a really good quality potato chip. Like I can't even keep them at my house because I'll eat the whole bag.
Guilty
delicious.
as charged. Guilty
just
as
delicious.
charged.
They're so good.
I've had a very stressful week, and when that baby was born, I finished off an entire bag of Lay's potato chips
Yeah, they're
because
just so good and crunchy.
I couldn't. That's what I do when I'm emotional. I eat.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, we are only human, right? So we know logically there are healthy ways to deal with stress and we try but sometimes when you're just hit with those big life moments that are such a struggle, it happens. And
Yeah.
thankfully with an eating window, it is a little more forgiving. You know that the next day is your next chance for a nice clean fast and you don't have to,
Hmm.
ruin all of your progress.
that's exactly right. And so, taking that on to the results, and let's talk about non-scale victories. So, Jillian, tell us a little bit more about some changes that you experienced beyond the
So
weight loss.
my Hashimoto's thyroid disease, my antibodies went to zero, zero. So technically, I don't have Hashimoto's anymore. I'm still very cautious because it could easily come back. But that's my biggest. That's the biggest. I
And
also had
I don't know what Hashimoto's disease is. So, can you tell me and our listeners what that is?
it's an autoimmune disease. It's an attack. Your thyroid is basically attacking itself. I never had to take medication because it never got really dangerously high. I've always been able to keep it at bay, but now it's down to zero. And when you have Hashimoto's, you're just really tired, lethargic. I had a lot of skin issues, that sort of thing. But that's gone. I had a lot of skin tags too, which are a sign of insulin resistance, and they just are gone. I just one day I was like, where did the skin tags go? They're just gone. I sleep really good. I sleep about 7 hours a night. I have a ton of energy. I wake up at about 4 or 5 in the morning and I'm just up and just going, 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 going. And it's not like a nervous energy. It's just a really good, like I just feel good and I want to get more done. I organize a lot more.
A lot more clarity. It's like I used to wake up in the morning very tired. Oh, did I actually sleep for 8 hours? Well, I did. Well, why do I feel like I could still sleep another 8 hours? So I would always feel really tired. Um, but I don't have that really anymore. Do you have that too, Allison?
Yeah, I used to get, I don't know about feeling lethargic or sleepy in the morning because I've always been like a morning person. But I was kind of the one that had the 3 or 4 p.m. afternoon slump where I would feel like, I just need to take a nap right now. And the way that I have this commute now because I moved in 2020, I'm driving at the 3 o'clock hour. So there's no way that I could get sleepy on the road. I mean, that just would not be working out for me. So thankfully, I started intermittent fasting right when I started this commute, and I have no issues whatsoever. No issues driving home, even if I have already opened my eating window. I usually start eating around 2 p.m. at my afternoon prep at school, but I open with like a big salad and a handful of nuts, and my energy is I would say like I feel very energized during the day until my eating window, and then I have still good energy. I get home and start the second part of our day, which as moms, working moms with a family, sometimes you have a it's like a whole second career, right? Once you get home and you walk in through the door. So we have our pets that we take care of, and dinners we have to make, and lunches and all of that. And yeah, I don't have any issues with sustaining energy. It's really amazing.
Well, these non-scale
Your window sounds
victories.
very similar to mine.
Yeah, no, I do. My window is like 1 to 8, about,
Okay.
or 2 to 8 or something. I've been having some. I was feeling under weather last week, and I couldn't understand why I was feeling nauseous. But I was talking to my sister about it today, and I think I might have had like a 24 or 48 hour stomach flu. So it might have been that I was feeling kind of nauseous at night when I lay down. But, these non-scale victories, when you're talking about the diet industry, the only non-scale victory is weight and fitting in other clothes. And what I really, really want to emphasize is that it's not only about weight loss or weight maintenance, but all these other things, because the way that, I don't know, I heard it through Jen Stevens or somebody explaining about cleaning the streets, our blood system, and our blood gets cleaned at night while we're sleeping or during our fasting. And it just cleans up all the crap that's in your system. And the results are all of these underlying medical issues get cleaned up as well.
Yeah.
A lot of them. And a lot of them having to do with autoimmune and other stuff, right, Allison? Can you mention some more things that happen when you fast?
Yeah, I mean, the research has shown that it really decreases inflammation and can completely reverse any metabolic illnesses or disorders. So, type 2 diabetes, the fatty liver disease, PCOS, all of those have been documented to be, able to be reversed with intermittent fasting. And then we have the whole autophagy piece. So, while we would like to prioritize maybe weight loss first, sometimes our bodies have some internal healing that they need to, that it needs to work on. But it is just amazing. Jalene, your skin tags, so many people say that in Gin's community. It's a really popular one. Resolution of like plantar fasciitis is another big one. Wendy, I know you've had some improvement with your eyesight.
These are brand new
Wow.
glasses.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I've had improvement in my eyesight, because I couldn't read the computer screen anymore, and when I was driving, it was like, why is everything so fuzzy? And then I would take my glasses off. I was like, oh, it's clear now. So yeah, I had to get new
Oh,
driving
wow.
glasses and new
That's
computer
amazing.
glasses because my eyesight changed, and also my tinnitus. I have tinnitus or tinnitus or whatever.
Mhm.
Being a professional musician for over 30 years and performing in an orchestra pit, it completely destroyed my hearing, and I got tinnitus. So I got constant cicadas in my head, 24/7, and it became less. It came back, but now it's less again. But I'm waiting for that to completely go away. That would be amazing. But again, I've only been fasting for 90 days. That's it.
Wow.
And I've had my
But
up and
that's
down.
amazing. Your eyesight.
Yeah, the
That's
eyesight.
so amazing.
I don't know, it's weird. But anyways, let's move on to our next section where we're going to talk about challenges and maintenance. Take it away, Allison. Go ahead.
Well, I'm curious, Jalene, you said you are in maintenance now. So,
2 years.
yeah, a lot of people talk about this a lot and worry about it, and they think that it's going to be really difficult. And I'm kind of on the verge of maintenance. I'm not sure if my body is done losing weight yet. And, it is a mind shift a mindset shift, I should say, about, when I wake up in the morning and I think, okay, I'm gonna fast today, and I'm gonna see what the scale says at the end of the week. And I think you really have to shift your focus when you get to maintenance, and you think like, okay, I'm here, I'm where I want to be. I want to do this for health reasons. And how do you view maintenance, and how do you make it work for you?
So maintenance has been a little tricky. I have had a few moments where the diet brain kind of kicked back in, because I think when you're in weight loss mode, you always have a goal a goal that you're always trying to achieve. And once you get there, you kind of feel like, well, now what? And I've had to really settle into, this is just my lifestyle. I don't always have to be trying to find the next goal. I just want to settle in and just be happy where I'm at and not constantly having to find something else to achieve. So that's been a little bit tricky. And I had to put the scale away again, because so I didn't have a goal weight. I had a goal range, and I got smaller than that. So it's within like a 5 pound range. And for a while it was getting to the top of the 5 pounds. And then the diet brain started to kick in, and I was like, well, I need to fast longer. I need to. And I just decided, no, you just need to put the scale away and just settle back down. You don't have to kill yourself to get back down to the lowest range. Just being within range. All my clothes were still fitting. So not worrying about the scale is kind of a relief. I put it away and I'm just trying to settle in. And I've really just been focusing on helping other people that are at the beginning of their journey, and just trying to share. I don't like public speaking. This is not my comfort zone at all. And this is my 9th podcast that I've done. And every single time I feel like I'm going to throw up in the beginning.
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm trying to make you feel as comfortable as possible.
You guys are making me feel really comfortable. I mean, I had issues in the beginning with my phone, but that's not you. It's just me. It's just,
yeah. No, I mean,
I don't like to see myself being taped, but it's good for me.
I think we're going to talk about community and sharing a little bit later in the podcast. But before we get there, can you just tell us why you shifted from your 8-hour window? Because it sounds like you are having a little bit of a shorter window. And then how do you reassure others that have had eating disorders in the past? Because, the media likes to say that intermittent fasting is not for those people. But so why did you shorten your window? And what do you say to others that have the same eating disorder?
Okay, sorry, you're cutting out just a little. You're cutting out just a little bit. The reason that I'm fasting longer now that I'm in maintenance is I just love the way that I feel when I'm fasting. And I feel like I just don't need as long of eating window. It just feels really good to do like a 19.5. That's my preferred window.
Great.
And you guys still hear me? I'm sorry, you're both frozen.
Yes, that was good, Jalene. That made sense to us. Can you tell us how you advise others, maybe with eating disorders, that are thinking about intermittent fasting?
Well, the recommendation is if you have an eating disorder, you shouldn't do intermittent fasting. You really should work with a therapist first. My eating disorder was when I was in my 20s, and I'm now 55. So I feel like I'm recovered. But the recommendation is if you have a current eating disorder, it could really make it worse. So I would say see a therapist before you try to fast.
Good advice. And I'm glad you found your way and you noticed little tweaks like hiding the scale and things like that to help you get through it. So for any listeners
so my husband actually...
So we had some technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen, with the California earthquake apparently affected Jalene's internet connection, along with all of the politics and politicians. So Jalene has moved into another room, And we're
Yes.
just going to pick up from where we left off. Now, where we left off is we're going to talk a bit about building your community. And I was talking about accountability. And accountability is really important for me because the important thing for me, as long as it's not a secret, I will stick to it. Kind of like being a professional musician. You're playing with a symphony orchestra. You get your music ahead of time. You practice it. You go and perform. You're on a stage. You're performing in front of 100 people or 10,000 people. You have to be 100% perfect. You can't hide. It's out there. So I'm not hiding my whole health journey, and that has been my kind of attitude since I've had the bariatric surgery, and continuing it on with my with intermittent fasting. So let's talk about your Facebook group and how you are sharing your experience in building a community.
Okay, so I started my group because I actually didn't share with anybody for the first year, except for my husband, who is so supportive, and he's been a faster for a long time. In fact, he used to be a mountain biker, and he would fast before he went on before he would go out biking. And I used to think that was terrible. I said, you're going to have, your blood sugar is going to drop. You're going to die. I had no idea. He was right all along. Don't tell him I said so. So he's been like my biggest supporter. He doesn't fast as long as I do. He's never, ever needed to lose weight, but he just does it because he feels the best. So I did share with a few friends and a coworker, and I had one friend who was pretty negative about it. So I decided I'm just going to do my thing. I'm just going to keep going, and maybe my results will just show the world that I'm doing something. So when I reached my first year and I was in maintenance, I decided to share with everybody on my Facebook page. And I had a ton of people who reached out to me at that point. And I decided to start my own group because I know not everybody that I know wants to hear about fasting as much as I want to talk about it. And I could talk about it all day, every day, all the time. And people don't always want to talk about it. So that's why I started my page, and it started really small. I think I had 30 people for the first year, and now we're up to over 1,000 people. And it's just a really nice, positive, supportive group.
And what's your Facebook group called? What's your Facebook group? Say it again.
Clean Fasting Jalene.
Clean Fasting Jalene. So I'll leave a link for everybody to click on and get to. Allison, you've had your Facebook group and you're inching towards 1,000. Have you reached 1,000 yet?
Nope, I'm getting there. I'm almost at the 950 range.
Right,
But
right.
yes, I'm at the Regain Remedy. Jalene, did you mention in your little bio that you also do life coaching? And do you still do that? And is there a way for people to reach you?
Here's a small public service announcement. If you're enjoying the Finding Wendy podcast, I'd love your support. Producing these episodes does cost money, and I cover the $75 monthly expenses for software and tools out of my own pocket. If you'd like to help me keep this podcast going, any donation would mean the world to me. You can find the PayPal link in the description of this podcast as well as the QR code. Thank you for being a part of the Finding Wendy community and supporting our quest together to stay on track and keep on being healthy. And now, back to our regularly scheduled program.
I haven't done life coaching in a long time. But if they want to reach out, if they want help with fasting, they can send me a direct message. And I don't ever take money for it, but I love to help people as much as I can. I feel so good, and I want everyone to feel good too.
Yeah.
That's
It's
wonderful.
that's really, really wonderful to share that with us, because it's, if you were feeling good, we want to share our good feeling with everybody, and share
Yeah.
with the intermittent fasting, because like I am a professional dieter, and that I have had diet guilty brain my entire life, and I don't have that guilty brain anymore. And since
So
for
happy
the
for
last
you.
3 months, and it's, the guilt is gone, yet I do get results. It's slow, but I'm not in a hurry. It's no rush, because what you said, the maintenance
Yeah.
stage part, that's the important part, not the weight loss, the maintenance. Because indeed, every single diet that I've I've fallen off. Oh, I reached my goal. I can stop dieting now. You can't.
Mm.
Like all these people that are taking Wegovy and Ozempic, the moment you stop taking them, you're going to regain the weight you lost. Okay, you're back again. Nope, no problem. So we were just mentioning that we're coming close to the top of wrapping up anyway. So Allison, you wanted to ask a few more questions, like resources and tools and things?
Yeah, for anyone that's wanting to dive deeper into intermittent fasting, or they have questions, what kinds of resources, or where would you direct them to go for more information besides your Facebook group, which is a really inviting space. I do encourage everyone to join that group.
I encourage everyone to read Jen Stevens' Fast Feast Repeat. That was my favorite book of hers. I've read them all. I love Delay, Don't Deny. I love Cleanish. They're all really good. But for me, Fast Feast Repeat has more of the in-depth science, but it's easier to understand than like Jason Fung, which I love Jason Fung too. And I love the obesity code, but boy, that's really sciencey. But I feel like in order to have success, you have to really understand the science. You have to understand what's happening to your body. And for me, understanding the cephalic insulin response made so much sense to me, that if my body tastes something sweet, the fast stops. That it's just like a light bulb moment. And I think people need to understand that science.
Mm-hmm.
I
So
agree with you. I loved that book also, and it helped me to really trust the process of intermittent fasting, where all other diets were like, okay, this is something I'm going to start today, and they've
mhm,
failed us in the past. And I thought intermittent fasting was going to be one of those, oh, I'm just going to try this and see what happens. But
mhm.
you really, once you understand the science, you really can trust it and stick with it.
Yeah, I agree. Right. And Jen is just, she's so relatable. Like, I feel like when I talk to her, like, I feel like she's a friend. She's just so relatable.
She
So,
is easy to talk to for sure. When I interviewed her on one of my podcasts, we didn't even have a script. Like I had set up an appointment with her to talk about doing it, and then she said, "Oh, let's just do it right now." I'm like,
that's
"Oh, okay."
that's how she is. And I love that podcast. It was so good.
Oh,
So
you listened to it. Oh, great.
I
Yeah,
did,
that was a good episode.
yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
it was really easy, but it's like her profession. Like she does a lot of these all the time, every week.
Yeah.
So you become a lot more. Um, you can do the off the cuff kind of questions, and you don't need a script or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
she's prepared. And plus she was a teacher for a long time. So
Yeah, she's good at talking to people and teaching people. So,
yeah.
Jalene, your story is so inspiring. What's one message that you hope our listeners take away from today's episode?
um if you're sleeping every night, you're already fasting. So if you just want to extend that a few hours in the morning, to like 10, 12 hours, you don't have to start off at like 19 hours of fasting. You can start off slow. And you're not going to regret it. Your body's going to start feeling so much better, and your body's it's going to click, and it's going to go, oh, I know what we're doing, because this is the way we're meant to eat. We're not meant to eat all day long, 3 meals a day, 3 snacks, drinking mochas all day long. We're not meant to do that. And you'll just feel better. I promise.
Well, that is great. And I think it's wonderful that you jumped on this call today, jumped in and jumped out with our technical difficulties.
I'm actually on my phone now. My phone is working better than my iPad.
Yeah, that's great. Well, not to worry, because I can splice and edit and put in funny graphics and whatever and figure out a way for those that are watching the podcast on YouTube will just understand, because with the audio part of a podcast, there'll be constant talking, not to worry. But I just want to thank you, and I definitely want to hook up again. And the next time that Allison and I meet in the next week or so, we're going to do one more podcast before Christmas, and Allison and I are going to talk about the Christmas holidays, about going on vacation, about how to eat, and what do you do with your windows when you arrive at your family's house for a big giant Christmas dinner, and it started at 4 and it ends at 2 in the morning. So, so what do you do? And so we're going to talk about that in our upcoming podcast number 17. I cannot believe it. 17 podcasts that I've been doing.
That's great.
And, it's a lot of fun, and it's great for me because it just keeps me on track, because again, I've only been doing this for 90 days, and I still have these moments where I break my window late at night and I have snacking. And I think that all of us in the beginning, were like, did you have that, Jalene? Did you break your window a lot in the first year?
Yeah, I did. And I had days where I would open up my window and I would have a giant donut. Even though I say I don't eat grains, I thought, well, I could eat a donut because it's delay, don't deny, right? And that's not the way I want to open my window. I felt terrible. But it's life, and it's not like it's not a failure. It's just another day.
It's just another day. It's not a failure. What about you, Allison? In the first year?
Definitely, it takes some discipline, and I kind of shared a lot with what I was doing, and I felt like my family kind of kept me on track, but I definitely had moments where I was eating outside of my eating window, and you kind of just get right back to it. The next day again is your next clean fast, and you just hope the majority of the days and most of the days you're as consistent as possible.
Yeah, well, it's an amazing message, and again, we are meeting so many new people, and we can continue bumping into people in the street when I talk to them, and they're like, "Oh, I'm an intermittent faster," and it's like it's the big secretive world. And but sharing our journeys and sharing this information with each other and our listeners is great. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this week's podcast number 16 with Jalene, all the way from Anaheim, California. Lucky duck. And just remember, every mindful choice is a step closer towards a healthier and happier you. So thank you again, Jalene. Thank you again, Allison. And we will see you next time on Finding Wendy.
Thank you, Wendy. See you next time.
Bye-bye for now.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.